So there's been some controversy as of late regarding Britt Baker and MJF and MJF's girlfriend, Alicia Tout, which, for all you British people out there who keep pronouncing it a toot, it's a tout. Get it right, please. Um, anyway, by the way, a cookie is not a biscuit. Whatever. Um, so apparently, this went on at the 250th episode of Dynamite, the one where MJF and Will Ospreay went for an hour. There was some hullabaloo backstage regarding the women's locker room. And apparently it was instigated by Britt Baker, because Britt Baker's the one that got suspended in all this. So um, it was put out there that Britt Baker and the rest of the women's locker room was saying things about MJF. And Alicia Tout was in the, in the locker room with the women. And went running back to her boyfriend, or fiance, whatever you want to call him, MJF. MJF got mad, confronted Britt Baker about it, and apparently got the conversation got so heated that MJF punched a wall. And the disciplinary committee gets involved because Tony Khan, he's not going to get his hands dirty. Tony Khan is not going to be the bad guy in any situation. So Bryan Danielson and the disciplinary committee, come in and they suspend Britt Baker for 2 weeks and fine her a bunch of money. So that's why Britt Baker got, quote unquote, kayfabe suspended on TV. It was real. So I look at it this way. They were probably bitching. All right, this is just me speculating now. Take this with a half a grain of salt. My best guess is that they were bitching because that match between Ospreay and MJF was going to take up an hour's worth of the show. And it's only a 2-hour show. So that means that there's one less women's match on the show. Here, and this is cold hard facts, guys. You could go look this up. And I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not being sexist. I'm not being a hater. I'm just spitting a cold, hard fact. Go look at the minute-by-minute numbers. And you will find that 9 times out of 10, those ratings go down when those women are in the ring. It's a fact. It happens with WWE, unless Rhea Ripley's out there. Or Becky Lynch goes to NXT on very rare occasions. But 9 times, I've been in the arenas. In the arenas, it's the same way. Go watch AEW. Do you hear how quiet those crowds are when the women show up? They don't give a fuck. And I'm sure there's probably the one or two mouth-breathing neckbeard out there going, stupid Mark Joe White, I care about women's wrestling. That's all I care about is women's wrestling. Women's wrestling is great. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, women's wrestling is good for the most part. I like seeing the women be able to get a chance out there. But I'm not the one that you have to convince. It's the normies inside the arenas and the people watching at home. Because the ratings go down and the audiences go quiet 9 times out of 10 when the women show up. It happens in WWE too. You put Kayden Carter and Katana Chance out there against Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, and no matter how good the match is, you're going to hear crickets, and you're going to see people constantly going up and down the concourses in the arena, going to and from the concession stands, merch stands, and bathrooms. It's a fact. I can't help it that it's a fact. I wish it was different, but it's not. So another stupid thing is you need to watch who you're saying shit around. Because when you know that somebody's girlfriend or fiance is within hearing distance of you, do you not think that she won't go back and tell her man everything she heard? I mean, it's AEW. This is high school, for crying out loud. Don't you be saying nothing about my man. I'm going to go tell him. I mean, this just proves that how childish AEW still is in their locker room. The all friends wrestling and we're a happy family and all that. If you believe any of that, you're a moron. A flat out moron. They're not one big happy family. It's dog eat dog over there, and this proves it. When you got enough balls, or big enough tits, I should say, to call out a man's position on the card in front of their girlfriend, because you knew she was in the room. It's the women's locker room. Why wouldn't she be there? And if you got big enough stones to sit there and do that, and then you get, people say MJF did nothing wrong and that MJF was in the wrong here. MJF is not in the wrong here. He heard someone was talking shit, and he went and confronted him about them talking shit. It's called being a man. It's what a man does. Now, in reality, was it going to change the match? Did it ultimately change what happened on the show? No. Was it futile for Britt Baker to open her mouth in front of the women's locker room and try to rile up the women's locker room over this? Yes, it was futile because the match still went down. It was still a good match, and people still, you got fined and suspended for trying to, stand up for your convictions. Yeah, the match between Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné, that's another thing. You put probably the biggest match of your career in jeopardy because of your stupidity. Because we got to get one more woman. How dare the men take up an hour of TV time? How dare they? You've been back for what? A cup of coffee? Come on now. Pick your battles. That's what it's all about. Pick your battles. And guess what? You picked that battle. You lost that battle. You got suspended and fined for that battle. Now, what this tells me is Britt Baker does not have as much stroke around that company. She got hired. She's an AEW original. She got hired probably before MJF signed. So it just goes to show you that, seniority is out the window. And you don't have as much stroke. You don't mess with the Golden Goose. And MJF, for all intents and purposes, is the Golden Goose of that company. People can say, it's Bryan Danielson. Oh, he's leaving, guys. He's on his farewell tour. So, MJF, for all intents and purposes, is the Golden Goose of that company right now. And when you try to mess with the Golden Goose, you just got your wrist slapped for it. You just got bit for it. So here's a word of advice. If you have something to say, go right to Tony Khan and see if Tony Khan will do anything about it. Chances are he will, because he wants to be everybody's friend. And he wants everybody to be happy. But I don't think in this case Tony Khan is going to change the length of that match. And there's rumors out there that it's not just this match. There have been rumors out there that the women's locker room has been unhappy with MJF and certain things MJF has said for a while now. Guess what, guys? MJF has carte blanche. That's just the way it is. It's workplace, high school shenanigans. He has carte blanche to do and pretty much say whatever he wants, within reason, probably. They're not gonna, they'll if MJF does something like, run around the damn arena naked or something like that, something stupid, or say something stupid, yeah, they'll suspend him and they'll fine him, but they're not going to fire him. And they're certainly not going to change booking plans that were probably already set in stone. I mean, come on. How stupid can you be? It's all about, yes, you've main evented shit before. Yes, you went out there and bled for the company. Good on you. It's called being a pro wrestler. And I know what people are, stupid Mark Joe White, you're not a wrestler. You don't know what it's like, Joe White. You're right, I don't know exactly what it's like, but you know, I don't know how need to know how a toilet works in order to use one. So stupid Mark Joe White, that's all you do, sit on the toilet. Oh man, the neckbeards are going to be funny about this one. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this. MJF did nothing wrong. You know, I want to know what was said that got him so riled up that he had to try to put his fist to a wall. We'll never know. It'll never come out because AEW stuff never comes out. Except for when it's like this. The rumor mill starts circulating about the high schoolers. And it just goes to show you that, again, they're not one big happy family. The locker room's not all sunshines and rainbows and lollipops and jelly beans. So it's very much high school. And WWE has some high school stuff as well, but it gets squashed by upper management real quick. Because WWE has no qualms in telling you, squash the shit or you're out of here. They've done it before. Anyway, folks, that does it for me. We'll see you down the road.